Oh, Jesus. So, Andre, have you been paying attention to the news lately?
No, Billy. I don't watch news. I don't like politics.
Yeah, me neither. But it has been kind of unescapable, this, so we're going to have to talk about it at some point, and we may as well do it now.
Yeah.
Hi, guys, I'm Billy.
Oh, and I'm Andre, if you couldn't catch that.
Yeah. So, we decided to do a little special episode for you here. It's kind of a single topic, single issue thing. It's what the actual fuck is going on with the economy. And
is something wrong with the economy, Billy?
Yes. And now we're going to... You've probably seen a lot on the covers of newspapers as you wander, to buy fags or booze or whatever. If you just glance at them, you'll just see tariffs, and everyone goes, okay, and then leaves. So...
Yeah. Anyway.
Instead of doing that, we're going to break down what tariffs are and why everything is probably going to get worse for the next couple of years.
Or maybe he's right. Maybe it's going to get better.
I would not bet any significant money on a man who wears that much fake tan being right about anything. Okay. Sorry. Just to, forgive my... I'm not like a Metro guy, Forgive me. I don't trust anyone who puts that much effort into their skin. Anyway. So, let's get over the basics. What is a tariff and what does it do? A tariff is basically a tax. That's what it is. It's a tax on goods that come into a country from another country. The idea, at least allegedly, is if you raise the price on goods coming in from another country, it discourages people from buying them. They're more likely to buy from places, within your country. That's the basic idea.
Yep. So, bringing it to the current world and to how it works, what Trump is hoping to do with his tariff is to get more jobs from production inside his own country.
Yeah, specifically manufacturing jobs.
Yeah.
Because it used to be, like before basically the 80s, manufacturing for most of our countries was done inside our own country. We did a lot more manufacturing, basically. Yeah. The problem with doing manufacturing over in a rich country like the UK or the US is that workers cost a lot more. So businesses, in their genius, decided to, we can get around this. It actually is cheaper if we switch from doing manufacturing in our own country to doing it in a foreign one.
Yep.
Where we can pay people basically pennies and they can live like shit and basically be slaves that, are paid just enough to survive, and we can just ship it over to everywhere else.
Yeah.
And that was a process called globalization. So all the countries' economies were all connected by this wild fucking system of trade routes and stuff. I'll give a quick personal example in case you don't know how this works. I was trying to find a part for a company that I was working for, so I called up a distribution house in Italy. The distribution house in Italy said, we actually get those from China. I was like, okay, can you get some from China for me in the UK through Italy? And they said, well, no, because the Chinese have just moved the factory to Africa and they haven't finished it yet. So it's going to be a delay. And I'm like, this is, okay, so this thing is this single tiny piece of engineering equipment is going from Africa to China to Italy to the UK. That seems inefficient somehow, but...
Well, that's because they have already set relationships and they all want to make money.
Yeah, trade deals, that kind of thing. Like, countries invest in each other all over the world. That's the globalization thing, basically. Consequence of this was basically we don't manufacture shit in most of Western Europe and the US or Canada anymore.
Yeah.
We just sort of don't do mass manufacturing except for like really high-tech shit.
Yeah. But even in that case, with high-tech shit, it's still produced somewhere else. We're just putting it together.
Yeah.
So we get all our components from China or from other sort of countries. Well, funny enough, China is not the cheapest place to produce anything anymore.
No,
because they have such a high concentration of experts and people that are professionals in their fields that they're starting to slowly not be the cheapest place to produce. Well, we'll still get the odd plastic stuff from China.
Oh yeah, it still goes through China.
But even those people would produce those rubbish plastic toys. They're still really good at producing rubbish plastic toys.
Oh yeah, they produce cheap tat like nothing else.
Yeah, they are so good at it. It's not even funny.
It's a very, very... It's kind of a crazy economic miracle is China at this point. I mean, now they're like moving their manufacturing out to like even poorer countries.
It's ridiculous.
And thus the cycle continues ever onwards. what does this mean for us now? Basically, it means that we don't really have manufacturing jobs in our countries anymore. We have service economy jobs, so most of the people who we speak, you work in hospitality.
Yeah.
I work in some sort of like public services like field. All that stuff is kind of, part of a service economy which wouldn't have been there during the manufacturing heyday. And then you got the stock market on top of it, which is all just speculation and gambling and bullshit. And the stock market's very, very stupid. The fact that people take it seriously is still blindingly.
Would you like me to go in the what I found this morning? So
yes.
I looked. Unfortunately, I looked at a bit of crypto. I looked at a bit of stocks this morning. I don't know why, because I hate myself probably. So I looked at the stock market starting off. I don't have much into the stock market. I have a little bit. A couple of things in the S&P 500 because I thought it was a really good idea. Well, technically, it is always a good outcome from the S&P 500. You lose, you gain, you always end up with a little bit more, right? So I looked at the S&P 500 this morning, right? And I went, let's just have a look what happened the last 5 days. In the last 5 days, we are recording on the 7th.
Yep.
And the lovely orange clown declared all his tariffs on the 2nd.
Yeah, 5 days ago.
So 5 days ago, I'm like, let's have a look what happened 5 days ago. So 5 days ago, the S&P 500, as an example, was at 5,669. 69.
Nice.
And this morning, if you look at it, it's at 5,069. Still 69. So the whole thing just all of a sudden lost 600 points. And that's in 5. It's not all of a sudden. It's in 5 days. By the end of the first day, it already lost 300 points.
Jesus Christ!
By the first of the end, for the end of the first day, right? Anyway, stocks and stuff like this, they're always fluctuating, but still,
this is a dip. It's
a massive dip, right? And if you look at on the internet, because of it, well, if you look at any sort of news outlets and not Fox, fuck Fox, say that 3 times over to your friends. If you look what the internet and everybody that is a bit more knowledgeable than myself saying that are actually credible, because again, you get people
There's a lot
on
of
both.
fake news.
So if you look at it, we are going to a recession, especially America is going to a recession.
Yeah.
Which is great. Would you like to say something else about your tariffs?
Well,
because I started ranting.
No. It's okay. So the idea that tariffs are going to bring manufacturing jobs back. Is this a viable plan? Is this going to work?
Yeah.
No. For the simple reason that it's still really expensive for companies to hire people to work in, sweatshops making clothes over in the US. And it's still going to be too expensive, no matter what you do. So even if with the tariffs, it's still going to be cheaper for them to produce over in China.
Yeah.
Or Bangladesh, or wherever.
To look as an example, in the clown's previous term, he started with a tariff on China.
Yes.
Right? It was a 10% on steel, if I remember correctly.
And a bunch of stuff on farming, like food. And
So what 10% on steel meant at that point? So when he put in the set tariff on China, all of a sudden, a lot of American companies started to produce within the US that are already producing in the USA with Chinese steel, started using American steel. And the American economy all of a sudden had a boom in steel producing jobs, which was great. It was about, I think, a 6% increase in jobs. You think like, oh, Andre, that's great. 6% increase in jobs. But actually, everything that was produced with American steel within America, all those products got much more expensive because it's so much more expensive to produce in the United States than to just buy the steel from China.
And if you're familiar with supply and demand, if the price goes up, that means demand goes down.
Which is ridiculous. So all of a sudden, the average household lost about, I think the term was $300 a year, just because.
Yeah, just because of that one decision. That was one tariff on one product in one place.
So
with the farm stuff, it was even worse because basically he put like a 25, I think it was 25, I can't remember, but it was a large tariff on like farms, like goods and supplies and fertilizer and stuff like that. So of course, farming is a big deal in America. They got lots of farms. And all of a sudden, everything got like far more expensive to buy for them.
Yeah.
So they were so pissed off, they went to the government, and Trump basically increased farm subsidies. So he ended up basically paying for them to pay more for their shit from China. It was like something like 90 billion or something he spent on that. It was ridiculous amounts of money.
No, he's just losing money. Ever since he's in power, he just lost money for the country.
This is a guy who lost money running casinos. That's the guy that we're talking about here.
I remember that one.
So, another important thing to note about the economy since the 80s, there's a lot of people have a lot more in like personal loans and debt. Yeah. People have credit cards now. That wasn't a thing before. It's very much a debtor's economy. People have longer mortgages that like last for like 35 years or something stupid at like ridiculous exchange rates and interest rates. So these tariffs and everything that Trump's doing would work if America still manufactured stuff already. It would make more sense.
Yeah. If they would have put all the infrastructure into place.
Yes, but he didn't. That's not what he did. He just said, tariffs, that'll do something. And
it will crash the economy.
Yeah, it'll crash the economy.
Funny enough, he was playing golf yesterday while his economy is crashing.
Yeah. He's off playing golf with his Saudi billionaire friends. So
I love that.
Don't you just wish that like the golf course would just like explode? Anyway, so the prices for what happens when you put tariffs on things is you're basically putting a massive VAT tax on things. Yeah. So everything gets more expensive inside the country. So US prices are going to go up.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Wow.
Probably basically immediately. And it's going to get kind of ugly. Funnily enough, because the last episode we recorded, we were talking about the Great Depression and the 30s and how everyone was broke as shit. There are similarities. There are similarities from what happened back then to what's going on now. For example, the tariffs.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It does. If you know...
crashing economy, of people not being able to afford food. Yeah.
And the government responding to that by putting tariffs on things, which is what happened during the Great Depression. And it made everything worse.
It did make everything. And this is why I'm getting annoyed about it. It's just because if you ask any economist on Trump's side, it's like, how is this going to fix anything? I'm just talking about the people on Fox News. I really hate those people.
Oh, yeah, they're evil.
They're just...
the worst.
They're the absolute worst. And if you ask them, so how is this going to fix anything? Oh, we needed this because Europe doesn't want to buy our beef and our chicken. Dude, I don't want your fertilizer beef, and I don't want your chemically cleaned chicken.
Yeah.
It's like... even on this side, there's people on Trump's side that are like, oh, we should buy the American chicken. It might be cheaper, and we're just going to have to put the label. It was cleaned with chlorine. So if you eat it at your own risk, sort of kind of thing. I'm like, why would you even put your own people through this?
Yeah.
Why
And no manufacturer or seller of chicken is going to like put out the chicken that says, oh, by the way, this might be a biohazard.
Yeah, it might be.
Please buy it. Like, come on. Like,
but people will buy it because it's so much cheaper.
That's the thing that Trump was part of the reason why he did these tariffs in the first place. He was bitching and moaning about like the Europeans, they don't buy our things. We have a trade deficit with them because they don't buy American. They hate America. They're taking advantage of America. It's like, dude, we don't buy your shit in Europe because it's terrible.
Well, it's not.
We don't
just
buy
that.
your cars because they're shit.
Well, no, Fords are decent.
Fords are decent, so we don't buy American Fords. We buy special-made European Fords. Thank you very much. Built in,
That I did not know.
Yeah,
well,
very different.
Here's the thing
market.
about that sort of trade deficit, and it's because Trump doesn't know how to read into things. Why is there such a big deficit? Because America, it's so much larger. It's such a consumer culture in America. That's why they buy so much stuff.
Yeah,
it's not a deficit because we don't buy American products, because we do buy American products. That's fine, but we don't buy the same quantity of American products as Americans buy European products, because we kind of have a lot more nice things.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, so that's why people buy, like a lot of Americans buy things which are European produced, which is not necessarily European produced, to be completely honest with you.
It might come from the same sweatshop as everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just has a European label on it. And then we don't buy enough of their things because, dude, who wants?
Because we've got higher standards for stuff for the most part.
My dude, if it has 60 ingredients on the back of it, I don't really want to buy it.
Yeah, if it's got 5, then it's like, that's nice.
I don't want to eat sweet bread.
Yeah,
it's not the thing, is it?
I don't want to eat bread that fucking Wonder Bread that tastes like cake as soon as you put it in your mouth.
Yeah, thank you. It's like you can't have things with so much. This is why this is happening. How about you fix your own infrastructure? You actually start producing things that are good, and then yes, tariff us.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden actually did an interesting thing. He tried to bring manufacturing of chips back into the US. He did a thing called the CHIPS Act.
Yeah.
Most of the chips in the world are made in Taiwan, which is right next to China.
Yeah.
That's a bit unsafe. So we'll put some investment forward. We'll build out an infrastructure to make our own computer chips. Really good idea. Guess what Trump did?
He cancelled that one as well.
Yep, every single
it's
penny.
It's fine. It's
because Biden did it. That's literally the only reason.
But it's such a big hatred for Biden in this whole government at the moment. Why are you hating on the man so much? Because he did some good things. He's an idiot as well. Don't get me wrong. He did his own bunch of stupid shit.
Oh yeah.
But he did a little bit less harm than you are doing.
Yeah, he was the harm reduction president, you know?
Yeah, harm reduction president. It's like, has it been 2 months yet?
Nearly, yeah. 20th. Yeah, it's been 2 and a bit months.
2 and a bit months. In 2 months, he's destroying an economy. In 2 months, my dude.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's really quick.
I know you had notes on tariffs and shit, but we never got there.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I think people are generally understanding. One thing about the trade deficit thing, because he did bring that up a lot, because he brought out like a big sheet of numbers about what the tariffs were going to be and why. And
he doesn't understand those numbers.
No, because they're all made up. Like they have this weird voodoo logic calculation. It's like, well, they're tariffing us this much, which most countries aren't. The small ones are because they kind of have to, otherwise they get completely fucked. But the larger countries, like the EU, is not tariffing American goods that much. It's like a little bit, like 2%, if that. But they said we're also counting currency manipulation and trade deficit. Those two things are not relevant at all because that's not how anything works.
So I seen a guy. He looked at the tariff list. He's an economist off of YouTube, and he looked at the trade list and he said, "I find it really weird because the amount of tariffs they're putting on Europe is if you take the trade deficit, you split it in half." And that's the tariff they charged you. And if he's like, I think somebody just there's like, trade deficit, okay, split in half. That's what we're gonna charge them.
Yeah, basically, I think that's what it was.
it's which is ridiculous. I mean, like, don't you have any economists? I know they're all clowns, but you know, there's no clown economists.
They have economists. They just ignore them. like economists are scientists at the end of the day. They get ignored like every other scientist.
It's ridiculous.
It's daft.
Oh, we're talking about protests now. Can we talk about the protests now?
We'll save the protests for a bit. I want to draw some more comparisons to the Great Depression. So,
okay, cool.
Great Depression basically fucked over the entire world and caused World War II.
Yeah.
Basically what's happening then was exactly the same as what's happening now. So the tariffs were a lot lower back in the 1930s, but they slapped a 20% tariff on basically everything.
Yeah.
And that caused the entire world economy to spiral into a massive hole.
Yeah.
Which it didn't get out of until the end of the war. They also had a huge problem with lots of regular people being in debt because people back in the day would take out loans to go buy shares with because the stock market was so profitable throughout the 20s. So all these guys went and took out huge loans from banks, bought shares with them and thought, well, you know, give it a couple of years, then all this stuff will be worth twice what it is now, and I can pay back my loan, and I can just buy a new house and it all went to shit. And yeah, that's why you see, if you look back and you look at old photos of the time, you'll see like men with signs with basically their CV, their resume on their jacket, and it's like, I am an accountant. I will work for food, basically. Yeah. It's very, very sad to look at, but it's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
The problem during the Great Depression was because after people lost a lot of their money in stocks, after the stock prices went down so much that investors started freaking out and pulling out of companies, a lot of companies went under, which meant a lot of people were out of work, which means they couldn't buy things. And then everyone else was too scared of losing all their money to buy things.
So they wouldn't spend their money and they couldn't fuel the economy.
Basically, yeah. if a country ever decides to stop buying things,
that's when you know it's going.
That's when the economy goes completely in the toilet. Basically, wherever you are, like
Well, that's why after. Do you remember right after we came out of the COVID? They did that voucher that if you go to a restaurant, I can't remember.
The eat out to help out thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they were trying to refuel the economy by giving substitutes for people to eat out. So because as you said, it's a service based industry here. So they try to refuel the economy, but that didn't refuel anybody.
No, not really. No, I mean everyone was open at like half capacity, and like everyone was spread out, and it was like you can't have the same margins of profit anymore if you're that kind of business.
You couldn't, because there were less tables. There were a lot more processes into place, so you can protect yourself and protect the customers from actually getting sick, because there was still a chance for the pandemic to get started over again.
Which kind of happened, to be fair.
Well, it did, but our immune systems are fighting it better.
Yeah,
I probably had COVID like 7 times since COVID happened.
I only got it once. But
the thing is, it's your immune system is fighting it properly, because it learned it and was like, okay, cool, we can fight it this way.
Yeah. Also, I got double vax before I
Me too. Yeah, double vax. Yeah.
I actually got it first because I was working in hospitals at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like lined up with a bunch of like 90-year-olds, and the fucking army is like all the army kids are just like there like, come along, Agnes, go get your shots.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, I'm like the only person here who's like, about 30, and I was like, oh, finally, someone who can move faster than a tortoise. Thank you. Come here, son. Bang, bang. There you go.
But no, so it's they try to do this. You need to fuel your economy constantly. But as we're gonna see it now, Americans are gonna run out of money.
They are very, very quickly. Now, are there differences between the Great Depression and now? Yes, there are big differences in the way the economy works. The problem is, it makes them all worse. So, it makes the tariffs an even worse idea. When the 1930s happened, America, I think 10% of its GDP was international trade. The rest of it was like domestic production and shit. Nowadays, that's 27% of their entire economy. So it's not like, it's gone from shooting yourself in the foot to shooting yourself in the kneecap. One of them they're both bad. One of them is
significantly worse.
One of them is a lot worse than the other, and is going to fuck you up for longer. Also, all the supply chains for like goods are much more spread out now. It used to be a lot simpler, like we buy this oil from Japan or whatever. We sell this to this country. Now it's like everything is going between all the countries all the time.
It's like the way lithium batteries are made, right?
Yeah,
it's
like 18 different ships.
You mine it in Africa by slave children. You send it to, I think, Norway. Then you send it to China to put it into my electric car.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's ridiculous.
It's a long ass, really, really fragile supply chain.
Yeah.
It does work out cheaper for the companies doing it, but it is fragile, as the pandemic proved.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the pandemic happened, everything got more expensive because shipping was fucked.
Yeah.
So
well, it wasn't just shipping. It was a lot of countries that were completely closed down. For example, did you hear about the silicon crisis?
Yeah, because the graphics cards and stuff started going sky high.
Because there was not enough silicon being produced because of the pandemic. So you didn't have any silicon to produce anything. And if you know computers, it's basically all silicon and metal.
You need that shit.
It just all collapsed. Just this,
Yeah, it funnily enough took the crypto boom to get people to lower the prices of GPUs again. They're still really high. I mean, the prices have not gone down that much. Prices generally
No, we're not going into that.
Yeah. There was also one other difference between now and the Great Depression. China wasn't a thing back then. China was not a huge importer and exporter of goods like it is now. China was a backwards country that was basically having a 20-year-long civil war.
Yeah.
And I suppose the comparison would be Great Britain. We still had the empire at the time, so we were basically America's biggest trading partner. We controlled half the world, all that shit. Because we got into a trade war with the US, it basically... That trade war process sort of what fucked up most of the world.
Yeah.
The problem is China is much more what's the word?
Aggressive?
Yes. They're a lot more single-minded than the British Empire was. They have one giant ass country, they've got a whole lot of investments, and they are going to do their damnedest to keep to keep the Americans from winning this.
Yeah, of course they will.
Because of course,
But
why would they?
here's the thing, like, the last trade war was mostly between the UK and America. This trade war is America against the world.
Yeah.
Which is significantly... Oh...
What?
World War III is going to be on American soil.
It might. Depends what they do first. We'll get there. So, what are the potential consequences of this? Well, the US is probably going to get fucked. First,
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, first of all, their prices are going to go up pretty much immediately, depending on which goods come from where. I actually did a bit of digging into what the UK trades. We'll get into that in a minute. But they get a lot of stuff from China, like more than we do, and that says a lot. So the massive amount of tariffs that China is now putting on their exports and their imports or whatever, their prices in America are going to go... They're going to take off like a fucking rocket.
He used his hand to show it, just in case anybody was...
Oh no, it's an Elon Musk rocket. Oh no, it's exploding. Oh god. So yeah, it's kind of like that. Now, a lot of people have said that Trump is doing this because he's, using it as a negotiation tactic to try and get people to stop tariffing America. Okay, slight problem with that. The only countries that are going to be willing to negotiate this are countries who rely entirely on the US for their exports. So Vietnam, Cambodia, third world country, Bangladesh, third world countries where slave children work to sew footballs and shit. They might negotiate. The problem is they're still not going to be able to afford to buy American goods over there because they're too poor.
Yeah. You can't buy, like...
Yeah, how many, Ford F-150 pickup trucks get sold in Cambodia?
I don't think that many.
Not very many.
How many Harley Davidsons do you sell in America?
Not very many.
How many... Did they even produce anything else?
That's a good question.
Well, how much...
lot of oil. They do produce a lot of oil.
How much irradiated chicken can you buy in Cambodia? Actually, pretty much, like a lot, yeah. I think they would buy irradiated chicken.
Yeah.
Radioactive chicken.
Yeah, chickens are impossible to grow anywhere else, so we have to take the irradiated slop from America. Thank you. The EU is probably going to do some retaliatory tariffs as well on top of the Chinese.
I'm excited for that. They didn't finish them just yet. They're cooking.
The EU is slower to act than China. They're not as unified, so they're going to take their time.
Yeah, they're going to cook something fun.
They're going to come up with some interesting news, and the EU is very pissed at America right now for a whole bunch of other reasons.
Being racist, blah blah blah.
Yeah. So Europe is probably not going to be kind. It's not going to be China hardcore, but it's going to be mean. The EU is going to be mean. Canada is also going to be mean.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to annex Canada, dude, I would be mean if I would have been a Canadian. I swear to God.
Canadians get this reputation as being like nice and friendly and all that. And if you meet Canadians, most of the time they are nice and they are friendly, at least compared to Americans. But every single Canadian I've ever met, and this goes from the far right sort of Canadians who believe that they should rejoin the British Empire to like the far left like communists, every single Canadian absolutely fucking despises Americans. Like,
why wouldn't they? Because they're just entitled. I mean, not all Americans are entitled, but at least the clowns they put into power.
Yeah, the Canadians basically say the Americans treat them like a punching bag, and it's like a best friend that you're constantly borrowing money from.
Yeah.
And you never pay back. And they just sort of take it and take it and take it and take it until eventually you say, hey man, can you spot me a $5? And they go, fuck you, fuck your family, and fuck everything to do with you. That's basically what Canada's mindset is right now. They are very, very patriotic Canadians. They don't like to admit it, but they're just as patriotic as Americans are.
Well, they should be, man. They should be.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be?
They've got to preserve a sense of national identity in their mind. So
in their mind. Wow, dude.
Hey, man, Canada is great. I love the Canadians, but at the same time, they've always been kind of beaten up by their big brother.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of like, it's revenge of the nerds, bitch. Like, it's full on, revenge horror flick right now. Canada is boycotting American goods and actually succeeding in doing that. Like, American goods have, sales have just plummeted.
So you can actually see footage of people just taking American products off the shelves.
Yeah.
Like, shops are taking them out completely.
Yeah, they're refusing to sell them.
Like whiskeys, for example, which is one... Well, that's what America produces, whiskey.
Yeah.
Canadians just take away all the whiskeys off the shelves. So you see bottles of Bullet just coming off the shelves and bottles of Maker's Mark and all that kind of like really good sort of. I mean, I enjoy them, but it's not for everybody. But good quality whiskeys just gone. But which is sad for Canada because now they have to drink Canadian Club or whatever.
I don't know what they'll go back to Scottish whiskey. They'll embrace their heritage and be buying Glenfiddich for like twice the price or whatever.
Bottles of Oban.
Yeah,
let's not put tariff on that for them.
So yeah, Canada's going to fuck them because a lot of trade goes back and forth over that border. And naturally, they're right next to each other. Mexico is also, Mexico's not going anywhere. They're sick of being pushed around by the Americans as well.
Yeah,
so
I honestly, I'm surprised they're not doing something more drastic, Mexico, because they're not in the news as much as Canada is.
No, they're not. But they are working on something, trust me.
They probably are.
Yeah. I mean, they're working, I think they're going like trade meetings with the EU right now.
Yeah.
So they're probably looking to...
Oh, good quality food.
Yes.
Come on,
Spices.
EU. Oh.
Cheap coffee. Yes. Yeah. We're gonna just suck all that up. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, we would love buying Mexican products.
Yeah, if we were in
Mexico,
the EU.
if you're listening to this, like the whole country, if you're listening to this, we embrace you. We want you here.
Come closer, brothers. Let us form a trade alliance that lasts for 1,000 years.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
And then just don't sell anything to Americans.
They're not going to. Basically, everyone in the entire world is pissed off with America and making trade deals. It's going to be an interesting time for the world, just the world as a whole, because everyone's prices are probably going to get knocked up by this.
Yeah.
Just as a factor of America being a bitch. It's like okay, so you're having a perfectly fine game of football in the park with your mates. Some guy gets tackled. He says it's like, a massive foul. Whoever's reffing says, no, it wasn't. You didn't touch your mate. And then so that kid takes his ball and goes home. So everyone else has to go, fuck's sake. So
that was the only ball we had.
That was the only ball we had. Can we find another ball? And then China puts its hand up and goes, hey guys, I'm going to go down the shop and buy a ball. Be right back.
Yeah. And then everybody starts playing. Wait, don't finish that sentence. Everybody start enjoying football together.
Yeah. Except without the Americans.
I almost said everybody starts playing with each other.
Great phrasing. You should have just said that thought, man. Don't just let your freak flag fly. It's fine. So, what has the UK's response to this? Because if you can't tell by my ridiculous accent, that's where I'm from.
No way, you're British, man.
I'm sorry, I lied to you.
Oh, couldn't tell, man. Couldn't tell. We wouldn't have been friends if I knew you were British.
You still bear a grudge against the Empire. You're just a hater.
Well, you didn't colonize Romania, so...
That's true. Probably not from lack of trying. As usual, the UK's response, given that it's currently run by, a Tesco's manager who somehow managed to find his way into number 10, Starmer is doing bugger all. Basically, he's just sort of letting this happen.
Yeah, because he's afraid. He doesn't know. He doesn't know any better.
No.
He's just waiting for Tesco to actually tell him what to do.
Yeah, he's waiting for corporate to tell him, basically.
He's waiting for that email.
Yeah,
he's just on standby.
At the moment, he's just like in a holding pattern of just sort of ignore the Americans and hope that they go away. The problem is that's not going to happen. He's not making a fuss about this, and he's not announcing retaliatory tariffs yet. I believe they're going to negotiate about some shit.
I'm sure they're cooking something up.
I'm sure they're cooking up something.
Well, not him.
Not him.
Somebody that's actually intelligent.
Yeah, someone behind the scenes is probably doing something like, shit, what the fuck do we do? Because the fucking Americans are going crazy right now.
Hopefully they hire an economist.
Fat chance of that happening. The British listen to their own scientists. Never happened. They hired this guy once. This is a complete side tangent, but I'm going to say it. They hired this guy once.
This whole thing is a side tangent.
I know. The British government under Gordon Brown or Tony Blair. They brought this guy in to basically conduct analysis of all the drugs in the country and like which ones were doing the most damage and which ones were doing the least damage. He came back with like a report which recommended the legalization of weed and the legalization of ecstasy.
Yeah,
because he said these drugs are so safe now that it's actually ridiculous. He made the point that they should, if they were going to ban something that was more dangerous to young people than drugs, it would be horse riding. More kids injure themselves with horses and falling off them than they do with drugs, which was, I think that's a pretty epic way to make a point.
Yeah, well, that's because you enjoy drugs.
Yes, and I also enjoy rich people having their horse obsession thrown back at them. But yeah, they fired him immediately and just didn't implement anything he recommended, even though they paid him to do that research.
So the man went home and was like, babe, I don't have a job. But he still paid me, but I don't have a job anymore. They don't listen.
Yeah, I think he just went back to whatever university he was working at and went, okay, fine, fuck you. I'm just going to carry on doing my research into this, the safe and efficacious use of drugs. Yeah. So anyway, tangent aside, Starmer is doing bugger all because of course he does. That's all he knows how to do. He is a lettuce that walks like a man.
Yep.
The Tories, being Tories, are just calling for Keir Starmer to cut taxes because that's all they know how to do. Not taxes on us, I should point out. Not
on the rich.
Yeah, on taxes on the rich. Yeah.
Well, why would we not pay taxes?
Yeah.
It's just about the rich.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, being Tories, that's all they're talking about. The British government released a list of products that might, not necessarily will, but might get more expensive due to the tariffs. Do you want to know how long that list is?
Like 4 items?
418 pages.
Shut up.
Yeah.
We're not buying that much from America.
We do exchange quite a lot of goods, but I will say the majority of it is not basic stuff like food, although there was a lot of food items on that list. Like, I've tried to read the whole thing. It's 417 pages long, and every item is like so specific. It's like, frozen chicken, barbecue flavored, this amount under 90 kilograms. And it's like, okay.
Who buys 90 kilograms of frozen chicken?
Wholesalers, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, like, as a normal human being, like normal human being, because wholesalers are not normal human beings.
They're not.
They're other kinds of human beings.
They live in the metaverse, basically.
Yeah.
But
they're on the nether plane of existence.
Yeah, they're in like the macro, whereas we're at the micro. They're on different levels. But yeah, like basically, a lot of it is like repeated. Like it's like frozen chicken products of this type and this category, frozen chicken products of this type and this. So basically, like, it's a really long, kind of redundant list, but it's very, very specific.
Okay.
They say that it's only a might. They might go up.
Okay.
I don't buy it. I think they're probably all going to go up, but they're probably not by so much that we're going to notice for a little while. We'll be fine for now, but there's a lot of stuff on that list.
Isn't the case of, how about we just stop buying American products? Like, I am willing to not drink bourbon.
That's a fine sacrifice.
It's like I am willing to not drink bourbon. What other American products do we have? All right, Coke is produced in every single country.
Yeah.
So not gonna affect me. I don't know if I consume any more American products than that.
The thing is, it's actually hard to tell these days because so many companies that you buy stuff from are like owned by bigger companies, and you don't know who they are or where they are. Like so many food products that are like competing brands are actually owned by the same company. So no matter which one you buy, the same people still get money.
It's fine, dude. It's like I genuinely think if we stop buying food products from America, if we stop buying things from America, we could sustain ourselves with things from Europe.
Oh yeah, easily.
And maybe like this whole Brexit blow kind of it gets softened a little bit.
We'll see. But I actually looked up like what our main like import and export relationship is with the States because it's kind of a unique one. We're only getting like the lowest balance because, funnily enough, we don't have a trade deficit with them really. Like, we buy and share like goods about at an equal rate. Yeah. So we're not in the the doghouse like China is. But what we export to them basically is medicine. We make a lot of medicine over here in this country.
Just stop giving them medicine.
Medicine is actually exempt from the tariffs. I should point that out.
Oh.
For now.
Give them medicine.
Yeah, we'll sell the medicine still. But also, we do high-end machinery and cars. We have a lot of high-tech engineering in this country because we always did. It's kind of a British tradition almost. So our relationship with the States has been like high-tech machinery, engineering, computing, like high-tech shit. What we import from them, this is interesting. It's mostly oil products. So petrol prices are going to probably go up a bit.
I'm so happy I have a hybrid.
I know. Everyone, you should be getting electric cars that aren't from Tesla. Hopefully we'll sign a deal with the Chinese so we can get all that cool shit they're making over there.
They're actually having really cool electric cars.
They're getting good now.
They're getting
very good.
really good. As I said in the beginning, China's becoming really focused on technology. And they have so many experts, and it's such a concentrated amount of experts. They have the rural parts where they do the rice.
Yeah.
And then their concentration of experts. It's ridiculous.
They got some really good technicians. They got some really good scientists. They got really good because it's almost a joke over here in like the UK. If you go to uni, there's just like a gaggle of Chinese students. There's just like, a third of your year is going to be Chinese students.
We're starting to sound like we're supporting the Chinese government. We're not.
Oh no, fuck the Chinese government. But
no, they're absolutely.
They are fucking evil. But it's the difference between, you play D&D. It's lawful evil versus chaotic evil in this case. So China is the lawful evil because at least they're sort of vaguely sensible.
Vaguely sensible. Vaguely sensible.
Many people from the Chinese world will probably disagree with me on that, but at the same, basically what we get from the States is basically like oil and such like. China won't be able to refill that market, but
no,
it's England. We'll find our oil from somewhere.
Yeah.
We still have trade relationships with oil producing countries. We'll be fine. Canada produces oil. They're going to need somewhere to sell their oil.
Oh,
there you go.
Canada, we will take your oil.
We
come
will
here.
do
come
a
here,
fantastic oil.
Come on,
review.
come here,
yeah.
Canada. We can get
Remember
friends.
when we used to be like? Remember we used to own you?
They're the Commonwealth, so
the Commonwealth will provide, as the Brexiteers often said.
No, they won't.
No, they won't.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So the overall effect on the British economy is it's going to reduce GDP growth by an estimated 1 to 2%. That doesn't sound like a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. If your GDP goes down for any reason, I mean, the current GDP of the UK is like, something like 6 trillion or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Like 1% of that is still a fuckload of money.
Yeah.
And because of the Brexit deal... we don't have
such a good idea.
I said this would happen like when they were voting on it, man. I was like, okay, if the Brexit vote happens, does that mean we have to do trade deals with America? And they're unstable asses right now because Donald Trump was looking like he was going to win, and I'm like, shit.
It's going to get really messy really quick.
Yeah, I thought it was going to get messier sooner, if I'm honest. But like, here we are. We finally arrived. Not trading with the EU as much as we did, that's probably going to kind of screw us in the long run. We're going to be better off I think maybe in the short term, but
or they're going to actually sit down and put a good trade deal between the European Union and Britain.
I hope they do.
Even though they kind of broke that relationship, they could still make something happen,
I think they could. I think they should. I don't think Starmer's going to do it because he has no idea what he's doing.
Because he's, as you said, Tesco manager, what lettuce?
Yes, he's the manager of the lettuce aisle. That is who he is.
Was that your rant? Are we done with the ranting?
I think we're done. I think I can't. Like,
you feel better?
I do feel better.
Okay. We're leaving this in, right?
Yeah. Basically, the world economy is going to get, as they say in China, very, very spicy. Stuff is going to be going up and down. You're going to see a lot of, red squares with lines going down on them whenever you look at anything related to the stock market. People are going to lose homes. People are going to lose businesses. People are going to lose their fucking livelihoods. America is finally, I will say this, as a final sort of note, America is finally really, really pissed off at Mr. Trump right now.
Well, because I did want to mention the protests that are going on. So today is the 7th. And they are at least, I don't think I can find the article on such short notice. You prepared
I saw
so
numbers
well.
that were like 500,000, something like that.
There are a lot of people in the streets, and they all hate Trump right now. So, and also a great interview I seen of this lady saying, I am so sorry, Europe, you made this bad impression of us Americans. That's just Trump. It's not us. And please do not hate us because you've seen it. Because probably they got a lot of hatred on the internet. Because, Americans, which we are giving them a lot of hatred. But there are people in America that are like, we're sorry this is happening.
Yeah.
We didn't expect this to happen.
So my advice to any Americans who might happen to stumble upon this recording for whatever reason.
Yeah, why?
Get out in the streets, keep it up, and don't stop until the guy's gone.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Be in the streets, be loud, make it so that JD Vance can't go get a fucking ice cream and a lollipop from the local candy store without Make it scary for them, because
Yeah.
that's the only thing these guys are going to understand. And if they're genuinely worried about a peasant revolt, that's the only thing that might change their
pretty
decisions
much.
around this.
I mean, just take it from the French.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Hey, whenever the French decide that something's bullshit, they point at it and go, "That's bullshit," and then just say,
That will actually hurt him.
yes. They're so big and flat. Some dry wood.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah, but we start. Just to clarify, as a disclaimer, we are not encouraging people to commit crime. Okay.
Yes. Crime is something that will get you arrested and you will go to jail.
Yes, especially in Trump's America, you'll get arrested by ICE and thrown into an El Salvadorian slave prison.
Well, yeah.
So we're going to wrap up our economic review from here. We've tried to keep this nice and short. Hopefully it was entertaining, and hopefully you learned a couple of things that you didn't know. Tell us in the comments exactly how wrong we are. And
especially Billy.
Thanks, dude. Remember to like and subscribe.
We'll see you next one.
See you next time.